Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the webinar. And we have a fabulous group of people. And this morning, this afternoon, wherever you happen to be, we're going to be talking about a really important topic. Could a referral program be the key to your success? And just want to run through a couple of housekeeping issues before we crack in and get started. So if we could move to the next slide. Just a reminder that Channel Focus Virtual next year will be on April the 19th and 20th, 2023. So put those dates in your diary. And we want everyone to get involved. There's a chat button down the bottom of your screens. Please feel free to get involved in discussion, ask questions, put comments in there. But we want this to be not just our panelists who've got some fabulous things to say, but we really, really want your input into the session as well. So don't forget, get those questions coming through. And I am now going to introduce our panelists to you. So our first panelist is Claudio Ayub, and he's the Senior Vice President at 360 Insight, and he leads the Technology, Media, and Telecom practice. And that's a cross-functional group at 360, sought for advice, counsel, and best practice on channel strategy, engagement, loyalty, incentive, automation trends. Outside of work, Claudio and his wife, Susie, are both founding members of a really important charity, the Grove for Ghana, a non-profit organization that has brought over 50 water wells to communities in Ghana, Africa. So Claudio, please give us 1 minute on 360.
Thank you, Rod, and welcome everyone. Well, so 360 Insights is all about incentives, automation, and ecosystem management. And so as Rod pointed out, I lead the technology, media, and telecom practice, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Fabulous. And our second panelist is Kevin Dean, and he's the Chief Strategy Officer at Mindmatrix. Kevin has 2 decades of channel experience. He's led digital programs at 2 Fortune 500 companies, and Kevin loves music of all genre. He plays bass guitar and has been scuba diving in the Red Sea and many other exotic locations. So Kevin, 1 minute, tell us a little bit about Mindmatrix.
Super excited to be with you guys today. Mindmatrix, it provides one platform that's designed to seamlessly connect and enable outcome-based solutions at a global scale, really tying together direct teams, channel partners, and ecosystem influencers. In addition to your traditional partner enablement and PRM, as well as partner marketing, Mindmatrix also has the next generation ecosystem orchestration platform.
Fabulous. And our third panelist is Rahul Roddam, and he's the VP of Product Management at E2Open. He's got 10 years of channel product management experience. He's got an MBA in marketing, and he's had cross-functional experience in startups and large organizations. He'd get on very well with Kevin as he's passionate about rock music, movies, soccer, and traveling. So Rahul, tell us a little bit about E2Open.
Hey, thanks, Rod. Hi, everyone. Well, E2Open is the connected supply chain software platform. It enables the world's largest companies to transform the way that they can make, move, and sell goods and services. E2Open connects more than 500,000 manufacturing, logistics, channel, and distribution partners over one enterprise, multi-enterprise network that tracks over 12 billion transactions annually. Our SaaS platform really anticipates disruptions and opportunities to help companies improve efficiency, reduce waste, and operate sustainably. Now, within channel, though, our solution offerings span everything from collaborative planning, TCMA, MDF, rewards and incentives, channel data management, and more. We are recognized as the leaders in channel incentive management and channel data management. The key, though, is our integrated platform, which not only provides you a holistic channel management capability, but also connects with your demand planning and the supply side of the house.
Super. And Josh Ruffner. Josh is sales manager of Allbound. He was employee number 8 at Allbound, and he saw Allbound grow from 4 customers only to most recently a majority investment of 43 million. He's got experience working with thousands of organizations in defining go-to-market for their channel ecosystems. He's also a Navy veteran and father of 5 children. I wonder that you've got any time at all to go to work, Josh.
Always trying to overexceed, but thank you so much for being here, and very excited to share this time with such great panelists. So Allbound, give you a little background on Allbound. Allbound is an industry leader in the PRM space. Our platform is designed to centralize all things that a partner may need to find success. So everything from enablement to content libraries and depositories, deal registration, creating transparency and trust that will help you exceed your channel expectations moving forward.
Fabulous. And last but by no means least, we have Rafael Sanguily, and he is the VP of Strategic Alliances at GlassHive. And Rafael helped create one of the largest online training schools for MSPs in the world. He developed and trained thousands of MSPs and sales and marketing professionals. He's worked with multiple vendors globally on developing go-to-market strategies for MSPs. So Rafael, give us 1 minute on GlassHive.
Hey, excellent. Hey, everybody. So I'm Rafael Sanguily, and GlassHive is essentially a partner-first sales and automation and marketing platform. So it automates sales and marketing for partners. It does have a PRM component where you're able to co-brand and manage and track all of your partners' activities, sales functions, and content. But we really are a partner-first tool. So think almost like HubSpot, but built specifically for the IT industry.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we're going to be talking about, could a referral program be the key to your success? And I think one of the first things we have to do is, there's a lot of confusion. What is a referral program? Is it the same as an influencer program? Is it the same as an agent program? It's not. So Claudio, over to you. How would you define a referral program?
Yep, thank you, Rod. So there are basically 4 referral program types or models or flavors, if you will. Lots of people confuse lead management with referrals, and that's not the case. But then referrals are also often confused with influencer type programs or social influencer programs. So I'm going to tackle the first 2, lead management or lead reporting programs, right? Lots of vendors out there combine a lead reporting program with incentives, but this should not really be considered a referral program, as they're not really optimal in that the outcome of a partner submitting a referral is really an MQL, a marketing qualified lead. And for MQLs, there are plenty of marketing agencies out there that will offer MQLs, lead generation as a service, and will charge for a lead. So that's really not really a referral program, not optimal. But a modern referral program incents partners to pass SQLs, opportunities, right? And that's a big difference from an MQL, which means that the potential opportunity, has budget, has authority, has band in essence, right? And so partners like accounting firms, law firms, HR firms, consultants who are closer to your customers and who create opportunity for themselves as well are not really going to want to sign up to resell in your programs, right? So a referral program is what's appropriate here. And this is something a little bit more sophisticated, which rewards an SQL, right? A real opportunity. Kevin?
Yeah, that was really great, Claudio. And I think the other 2 that get confused are when it comes to influencers. And we hear a lot of talking about influencers today and how those fit. And so you take at a broad scale, an influencer, they're just generally anyone who has the power to affect the purchasing decision at any particular level because of perhaps their knowledge, their position, or their relationship with a particular audience. And while they have a role in potentially influencing or referring customers to an organization, that's not really what we're going to be discussing today. Right. And then a subset of influencers are what are called social influencers. And social influencers, these are individuals who they've really built their reputation on being the domain experts. And they regularly post on their preferred social media channel in order to build their influence. And they have a lot of ability to really be non-transactional in their influence, and they can refer business to you. But again, that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about a referral program that can really help you drive growth.
Excellent. So Rahul, come over to you. What types of partners will get involved in a referral program and why?
That's great. I think as Claudio and Kevin were kind of alluding to, right, you don't want to be putting in partners in this kind of a program who are not very close to the customers, right? You want someone who is truly in the field, has a personal reputation, has their reputation on the line when they're getting into referrals, because in the end, they're taking you to a stage where this, to Claudio's point, you're not getting into a marketing stage. These are already qualified, highly qualified leads. So these partners need to have those relationships. Likely they'll be in regions or industries or in places where you don't have a lot of expertise to qualify the sale. So these partners are executing, are not looking to be your seller, but really be that kind of a partner who can move that particular customer along and recommend the product that you're selling or the service that you're selling. So yeah, I would say they're non-transactional, but they have clout and they have a reputation with their customers that they're trying to make decisions or influence their purchasing decisions.
And Josh, do you want to come in on that one?
Well, I think it's very important as kind of a rule of thumb with any sort of partnership that you need them more than they need you, right? And so very rarely are there any sort of exclusive type partnerships in today's world. And so if I'm taking the time as an organization to partner with you, I'm likely partnering with others like you. So at the end of the day, who is providing me in my organization the highest probability of success, but also providing that trust and transparency that breeds new relationships and is going to allow me to put my name on the line and put some skin in the game to make sure that we're both successful in these relationships.
Rafael, how do you find these referral partners? How do you bring them into the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it just depends on what your referral program really looks like. If you're really built from like a partner first perspective, where you're really understanding like, hey, I'm going to give you guys specific tools, things you guys need to help make this partnership more than just a monetary kind of like, transaction. That really starts to help develop kind of where you should be looking for these partners at. I think depending on what your service provides too, so you can look for vertical specific partners by attending very vertical specific trade shows, events, things like that, helping them become thought leaders within the specific verticals or industries they're supporting. But I think there's a bunch of different ways to go around it. I think it just depends on understanding like, what does your ideal partnership look like? And what does your partnership program look like outside of just compensatory, kind of transactional mechanics?
Yeah, and Rod, if I may, excuse me. So, typically referral programs have gone out to long tail partners, right? But today, excuse me, what we're seeing is really more focused, right? If you're an HR software vendor, right, you're looking to professional services HR firms, to engage in your referral program, right? And so there's been a big shift from applying referrals to long tail partners to focus really on industry specific verticals, like Rafael was saying.
Yeah, and I would just like to say too, it really does come down to knowing your persona, knowing your target audience, and making sure that you're looking for partners who are adjacent to what you offer. You want to make sure that you really have partners who know and are working with your customers.
And if I can chip in as well, Rod, sorry. I think it's crucial to understand that it's not just about passing along this lead and this sales and opportunity and just moving on. You want this partner to be completely invested in the life cycle, right? All the way through. They're someone who holds a relationship, like I said. So it's in the case of influencers, you're just passing it on and moving, stepping away. These partners don't really care about the outcome. Here, they're going to follow through and make sure that this adoption, these customers that you're selling to are truly getting the value of this relationship, right?
Yeah, I think, Rahul, to your point, that's a great point you brought up, is what is the value that you're bringing to the table. Again, everybody's offering can offer money, everybody can offer, you know, a compensation, but what is the actual value outside of that you're providing? I think that's the big question you should all be asking yourselves. You know, one of the key things to look at here, especially to, you know, is a little earlier we talked about, is just understanding some of these providers, like managed service providers in particular. I have a lot of experience with these guys. Their clients are with them for life. That's a long-term relationship. They're not just going to hand it over to anybody in particular just based on, you know, a particular compensation. They either trust you, and trust is really built outside of just, you know, hey, here's a check, here's a great referral fee. It's really built by small pieces of value, thought leadership, you know, really showing them to Claudio's point earlier, how invested are you into that relationship, into that partnership? Is it a true partnership, or is it just kind of a transaction you're looking for?
And Josh, if you've got a partner, they're passing on referrals, why would they do that rather than, what are some examples of the reasons why they would do that rather than have the full relationship with the customer?
Well, I think referrals, and we have to really take into consideration the value proposition is with the people of that partnership, right? You're not partnering with a company, you're partnering with their people. And so those people are the ones that hold the relationships, right? Very rarely, you know, do we find that there's a relationship so deep entrenched with a brand that I now need to recommend them, right? If I know Kevin or I know Rahul, I would rather pass you an individual that you could build and continue to build a relationship with over time. You know, part of the referral process that gets really, I think is matured over the years, but it's more of a transparent process where if I'm now passing a lead, it's no longer that I don't care, it's I do care, and I need to know that you're taking care of someone that I've spent a lot of time developing this relationship with. So I think there's a level of transparency that comes into this that it you know, enables all of us to continue to build upon that trust, continue to get more and more referrals, knowing that they're being taken care of.
Yeah, I was thinking that we live in such an integrated world now where all systems are connected. Not everyone can be an expertise in every single domain. And I think that it really builds that trust that Josh was saying when that referral partner can say, look, I'm not the expertise in this domain, but here's a partner that I trust, and they're going to take good care of you, just like I'm taking good care of you. And that is kind of the benefit and the value of those types of relationships.
Yeah, it lets partners play their strengths, right? They don't need to sell. They don't have to sell. That's the whole point of this whole thing, is that partners should play where they feel most comfortable. And this gives them another opportunity.
Yeah, and if we look at the new ecosystem economy model, right, where you have 4 or 5 partners working together around a single customer with a solution that may be 4 or 5 different products, right, that referral partner, just like the influencer partner, are key components of that new ecosystem economy. So all of a sudden, referrals are really come up to the top and become very, very important.
I think that's a great
Rafael,
point, Claudio.
if I can just bring you in, Rafael. A lot of what's been talked about is transparency. What do we mean by transparency? I'm a referral partner. I'm referring something to you. What do I expect? What do I expect to see within this program?
That's a great question. And I think that it brings right into Claudio's point a little earlier. This is a team sport now, right? Referrals is not just a one-on-one thing. It really is a team sport. There might be multiple people involved in this transaction. And I think that the original kind of the originator of this particular referral might have several other partners involved in this too. So it's really important that all communication stays completely open, that all of the emails that are going back and forth with that prospect are involved with the original referral partner, and that you understand what is your role in this entire engagement, right? So you don't overstep on anybody else's toes here. I think it's really important to have, really clear expectations set early on as to what you're going to bring to the table, what your position essentially on the field is going to be, right? And how you play that role with your partner. Remember, as a partner is bringing this something to you as a referral, you're to a certain extent going to take a back seat. That partner is going to be the quarterback in this situation, right? And you didn't understand how to essentially run your route, do your play to benefit and provide value to the overall structure, as opposed to looking at singularity, just kind of what benefits me, right? I think if you understand that position, you understand that transparency, and you have, clear communication and expectations set throughout, it's probably going to lead to a more, trust-filled environment for your partnerships and your referral partners.
Rahul, how about dashboards? I mean, I'm a partner, I'm referring things. What should I be able to see?
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I think it is, like I said earlier, right? You don't want them to, referral partners don't want to step away. They want to see the end-to-end success of their customer that they're referring through this program, right? So once they pass off the lead, they'll want to come in and access and see what that customer has been doing. And of course, track any potential incentives and rewards that they might get for that behavior, right? For transferring the lead. Once that converts into a sale, they'd want to know that so that they can get adequately compensated. But it doesn't stop there. This customer is going to be a customer for life. There's going to be renewals up ahead. There's going to be upsell opportunities, cross-sell opportunities. This referral partner should be aware and be able to see all that end-to-end transactions and get compensated adequately. So what we are saying is that you're now a referral partner for life for that customer journey. Tracking the end-to-end and having that visibility in a dashboard will really give you a lot of value. You can come back, and that gives you more incentives to come back with more referrals in the future.
Yep, I would add around Rahul's perspective is that you want to present visually that referral life cycle on that dashboard for a partner, so that they understand exactly at which stage that opportunity is at. And I've seen top referral programs these days actually incent the approved referral registration, not so much the closing the deal on that referral, right? Remember, it's an SQL, right? So the requirement for that referral partner is going to be higher. It's not a lead, right? So it may have band built into it, and so the partner is going to have to go into that referral registration form and provide some key data points that are going to be important, to make that decision. So from a partner perspective, it's important to let them know where that is at all times, what the sales cycle length is, what the referral length is. All of those bits of information are very valuable.
And Josh, let me bring you in for a second. Rewards, should they be basically just one reward? Can we have multiple rewards depending on different behaviors by the partners? Does that make life more complicated? How should we be looking at structuring that?
Well, I think there's two types of rewards just at a high level. One is the macro, right? And so that is ultimately a close one. We've won something, we're going to pay some sort of compensation towards that. But we also have to take into consideration that there's a lot of activity and behavior that also needs to be accounted for before we even get to the point of having an MQL. So if we want to drive the right types of referrals, we need to make sure that we are compensating on a micro level too. So whether that's using things like gamification or, to say, hey, if you do XYZ, I'm going to give you X reward, right? I've seen companies go as far as saying, hey, you've passed me a lead, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars. And now once that close, hits a close one stage or whatever that, that end state is, we're also going to pay you again. And so I think compensation really comes down to understanding what's important to your referral partners. And so to understand what's important in a dashboard, to understand how they want to be compensated before even starting the program, I think it's important to ask these partners, what's important to them? What are they finding success with working with other companies? What do they not like? So that we can avoid falling into some of these pitfalls that a lot of companies, find themselves in because they skipped over good to get to great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rafael, you've just put something into the chat. I'll come to you in a second, Kevin. Rafael, you've just put something into the chat about non-competes. Explore that for a second.
Sure. I just wanted to ask what do you guys all feel about having non-competes built into your referral agreement? Sometimes partners are very particular about, again, protecting their client data and their partner data, right? So I know it's something that's come up in the past for me. Typically, for us, it's not a big deal considering we're very niche in what we sell and what we do. But I'm just curious to see if anybody else experienced that. Have you guys been getting people asking about non-competes or even NDAs built into your referral agreements?
So NDAs for sure, definitely. Yeah. Terms and conditions, absolutely. Non-competes, I have not really seen. I believe that we're in a more open type of an environment these days where that doesn't really have a role.
Yeah, I was going to say NDAs 100%, but when it comes to non-competes, we live in such a changed ecosystem environment where sometimes your competitor may be your referral partner, right? Because there may be a time and a period where you have an offering that they don't have, and in other areas you may compete. And so I think that we're seeing a more open environment where non-competes gets really tricky.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rahul's never sent me a lead, by the way.
No, good point.
Decided
Good
to
point.
non-compete.
Good point. But you know, I think that's becoming more of a thing now as we're looking at, you know, I think that is more of an open world, an open thing. I think it's just good to kind of explore. Usually when I get that question, that usually tells me this person's been burned in the past. So it usually helps me explore a little further, like what happened with that relationship. And again, understanding, you know, to Josh's point a little earlier about what is the expectation this partner has in terms of your relationship, right? What are the expectations that you're setting? And, you know, what do they want to see out of this? Again, some of them have the bad X syndrome, right? Where they've been burned. So it's just important to start that relationship off on a good foot.
Mm-hmm. And Josh, how do you help partners understand what you're looking for from a lead? Hey, I've just sent you a bunch of leads, but they're not actually what you're looking for. They are definitely marketing qualified leads, not sales qualified leads. They need a lot of work, and a lot of them are going to fall by the wayside. How do you communicate that to a potential referral partner?
And again, I think a lot of this starts at the foundational level and developing that relationship with the referral partner is when you're going out and recruitment, you know, of the new partnerships in this ecosystem, it's good to understand what are the gaps that they fill? What are the things that they do to add value alongside of your offering? You know, are they able to communicate with a similar industry? Do they sell to the same, you know, or similar ICP? And so as long as we're aligned in those aspects, I think a lot of times these referral partners tend to send you better leads because they better understand who you're selling to. And better, you know, more into all of this is that they can articulate your value proposition in a way that makes sense and is comfortable for them already. They're not recreating the wheel. So if we're getting bad leads, I feel like we need to point the finger back at ourselves and say, you know what, we missed something and we need to go back and maybe retrain or create some enablement to help them better understand.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to onboarding, you definitely need to do some onboarding and training of new referral partners. But keep in mind that you don't want to have this very in-depth, elaborate onboarding program because they're not going to engage with it. And so that's going to disincent them. So you want to keep it short, simple, so that they can get it in a glance because you're not going to be able to hold their attention and their engagement.
Yeah, I agree. It's like they have the control of the relationships, right? It's in some way you're asking them, how can we help you further your goals? It's almost flipping it around. It's not, you're not in the position of power in this relationship. And you're trying to understand, how can I bring you in and help my business grow because of your relationships? So it's almost offering them the opportunity to come together with what their goals are and us helping them enable that through this program, right? So I think that's important to really understand their goals of what they want to do with this relationship.
Yeah, that's a great point, guys. I think that I've always kind of looked at, hey, do you understand how your product or whatever your service is, or whatever your product's offering, how it impacts SMOP, right? Sales, marketing, operations, and financials, right? How does that partnership impact those 4 key areas that the partner's thinking about? How do you help articulate that? Do they need help in those areas? I think all that stuff, having it drawn out ahead of time to make it really easy for your partner to understand how to refer to you guys or what's a good fit, I think is really important to kind of build out. And you should incentivize all those steps, right? Not mandatory, but incentivize. You want them to be better trained, understand how to search for opportunities, but it's not necessarily a requirement for them to send you a referral.
Yeah, but at all times, I think your program needs to have an open channel of communication back and forth because, you know, we've identified plenty of referral partners that were willing to go to a second level, to a second step, if you will. You know, they might have come in and spec'd out the deal, right? They might have provided, you know, the definition around that spec. And so by keeping that open channel of communication, right, you can engage that referral partner who initially didn't want to do anything else but a referral into maybe some other activities. I've seen plenty of referral partners move into a POC, a proof of concept, for example, because, you know, it will benefit them, of course, the other partners, as well as the customer.
Excellent. Rafael, I want to come to you for a second. Rewards. should they be for the life of the contract? Should they be a one-off reward? Should that depend on the nature of the relationship the partner has with the customer? How do we deal with that?
That's a great question. And I think it really just does depend. It depends on what you're selling, the term of the contract, the life of the contract, right? And the type of partnerships you're looking for. I think if you're looking for, and it also depends on kind of where that SQL is coming from. Is it an SQL? Is this just a one-off transaction? This partner's never going to bring probably another opportunity back for you? Is this going to be more of a long-term relationship that you're looking for with this partner? I think those are all things that factor into what you're doing, and you can build in. I think it's always good to have an upfront, kind of a referral commission or some type of incentive for them to bring you the initial referral, and then you can also build long-term, retention based on the number of referrals that keep coming in. So, for example, they can qualify for more of a retention bonus if they keep bringing you referrals. That's one way I've seen it done too. Almost like not necessarily a quota, but it's definitely a baseline number they have to hit in terms of new referrals to keep qualifying for that retention bonus.
Mm-hmm. Josh, do you want to come in on this one?
Yeah, I think it's also important to understand who that referral partner is in their own individual role and relationship with you, because a technical referral might be very different than a sales referral.
Good point.
And so when we think about salespeople in general, most of us are creatures of habit. We tend to do things that work for us. We want easy, we want transparency. And if you make it too difficult, we'll find something better to do with our time, right? And so this is that part where a non-compete becomes very challenging, because if there was a non-compete, you're still battling the salesperson, right? And this person may have a poor experience and may, refer your competitor versus you. So I think when we think about kind of the overall compensation model, we need to really understand who the person is and what's important to them. And so a salesperson, we know the quickest key to a salesperson's heart is through their pocket. Help them make money, right? Make it easy, and they'll keep coming back and doing it again and again. Your technical user and their compensation may be very different, right? It may be creating longevity in their relationships because you are, you're filling a gap in their own services or offerings, and you're making it a lot more of a sticky opportunity. And this customer likely stays with you for a very long time because of this, multi-tangled kind of relationship.
Okay, I want to get real specific now, guys, to provide real help for the people on the call on what should a program look like? What should the referral partner be experiencing? So, Kevin, if I can bring you in to start with, I've got a lead. I'm a referral partner. What's the process? How can I make it as simple as possible?
Yeah, so you first have to have a way to capture that lead and make sure that it's qualified, and make sure that the partner knows, who's referring that leads, knows where that lead is in the process. So I think that first step is that lead management piece, so that everyone knows where that lead is in the cycle.
So how do they put it into the system? Give some examples.
Yeah, generally the best way to do this is through a PRM, through a portal, and on that portal they'll have a form that they can put in the information that's required. And you want to make sure that you're not asking too much, because if it's too in-depth, they're not going to fill it out. But you also don't want it to be just, a name and an email address as well. You want to make sure that you have information that helps you to qualify it, and then make sure that you can get to the next step.
Yeah, Rod, if I may, I look at it in two different lights, right? The first one is the one Kevin was just describing, right, which is the partner experience. Partner goes to a portal, registers, in a form, all the key information. Now, on the other side of that picture, right, is your backend systems. You don't want to duplicate systems on your backend. So that referral is going to go into your CRM as a lead, and is going to be routed just like a deal on the back end, right? And approved by your team or not. But what needs to happen, coming back to that partner experience, is that as soon as it's submitted and reviewed within an SLA of, say, 12 hours, that partner needs to hear back whether, hey, has it been approved, yes or no? And maybe no, but because you're lacking budget, is there a budget? Or maybe you're lacking, the buyers, the proper buyers in there, or some specificity. So again, think of it, with two different lights. one, the back end, which is going to be what you have today. You shouldn't be recreating the wheel on the back end.
One of the things that it should also have is a way to resolve potential conflicts, because let's say that you've got multiple partners and they're submitting and they have different relationships and they both submit a registration for the same company. How do you your program needs to know how to handle those conflicts and make sure that that is specific, that it's extremely clear that partners understand what happens when there's a conflict because the lead is already registered.
Yep, and in that light, you know, your system should be able to tell the partner right then and there, as Kevin pointed out, hey, this has already been registered. Right.
Although if I could just maybe counter that a little bit, I'm just thinking from a referral standpoint, both partners could have an equal influence on referring this customer, right? So the customer may have made a decision because they heard from two great referrals and they're like that incentivized them to go further. So in some way, we should be able to track even both partners against the same opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And Josh, I've got the lead. It's been accepted. How much communication should I expect to receive from the vendor about the progress of that lead? What else should I be seeing now?
I think there's three components that are really important for visibility and transparency. And typically from my experience, what I've seen from, referral partners, they really care about these three items. The first is the dollar amount, right? If they're compensated based on a percentage or a margin of that dollar amount needs to be visible. They need to know where it's at. And obviously we all know through a sales cycle, that dollar amount may change, right? It may go up, it may go down, but at the end of the day, I need to know what I should be anticipating or expecting. The second is a close date. Right? They need to know, when is this expected to be closed, right? Is it this month? Is it next month? A lot of us, are budgeting, and we need to understand that, from a compensation standpoint, I can now expect to get this 30 days after this close date. And I think that the third is constant progression in the sales stages. So they need to see progression in the deal. If a deal's just sitting at accepted for a month, right? We should have some concerns that it's maybe not being properly cared for. And so and I think if I can add one more into this, just something that I've really identified recently is who is working on this deal with me. If you're a larger organization and maybe I'm accustomed to working with an individual that's regional based, right? I know that, if it's changing all the time and it's always somebody different, that could be, a sense of alarm. But if I know I'm working with one individual and they have high levels of success, that's going to help encourage my involvement with you going forward too.
And Rafael, payment, how quick and when?
Those are all great questions. I think that it depends. Again, if you want to incentivize some of the behaviors, you want to incentivize maybe at the registration point, you can give a small commission there. It depends on how far back you want to incentivize the behavior. Even sometimes people have seen, marketing qualified leads get incentivized. Maybe it's a smaller amount with something that rounds up depending on the level of qualification that comes through, all the way until close, right? And then you can decide, hey, is this a one-time transaction? Is this a long-term kind of annuity-based transaction? What does that look like for you based on what you're selling, and what type of relationship do you want with that referral partner? I think once you satisfy that, then you can quickly identify, hey, is this just a one-time thing that closes? Maybe you're selling something that closes really quick. It doesn't even require registration. Boom, they just get paid. You guys shake hands, high five, and you're out the door, right? Or if it's, hey, this is something that's going to be a long-term part of whatever they're doing as a business operation. Maybe it's some type of very specific line of business software that you're providing. Again, that all depends on what level of relationship you want from that referral partner, what behaviors do you want to incentivize, and what the overall value of that contract looks like that'll help you figure out kind of what to pay, when to pay, how to pay.
Yeah, and along those lines, I would argue that $200 doesn't cut it anymore as a referral fee. That definitely, if you're doing that,
influencer level payment, right?
Yeah. And generally what I've seen for most organizations is that they're paying out on a quarterly basis.
Yeah. And the other thing with payments too, you need to determine, are you paying the individual or are you paying the company, right? So is the company getting 10% and they're now commissioning the individual at 5%? We need to understand how they want to be paid, how they want to be incentivized. I think, again, it also comes down to the sales cycle time, right? If your sales cycle is 2 years, Claudio, you are right up, $200. It's not enough for me to stay here, right? But if your sales cycle time is 20 days, well, $200 might be enough. So it really depends on the complexity of these deals, the longevity of the sales cycle, and ultimately it comes down to the ACV on those deals as well.
And I mean, it's not just about money E2, right? Referral partners, more than any other type of partner, would be looking for other types of rewards other than money. So yes, you might have some upfront cash, you might have an incentive for the life of that deal, but more and more referral partners are looking for value adds, right? They want the recognition. They want someone to tell you that you've done a good job. They want some sort, maybe access to certain events, access to your leadership, access to content. Those are all other ways to incentivize and motivate referral partners to get into this game without necessarily looking for money.
That's a great point, Rahul. Co-marketing, cross-marketing, those are all good things too. Some people are looking for that are outside of just general compensation.
Yeah, those would be more along the lines of influencer referral partners, though, right?
So let me ask each of you in turn, because we've got a great question coming in. What is the amount that does turn heads and why? Let me turn that question around slightly. And quick answer, please, from each of you. If you're looking at a referral program and you look at your customers, Claudio, is there a percentage or an amount that's, if you look on an average, what would that be?
A minimum of 3%.
Kevin?
That's interesting that you said 3%, because I'm seeing higher somewhere, typically around 15 to 20%.
Right. I was saying minimum, right? And I'm talking about deal value, right?
Yeah.
That 15% could be on the setup. I'm talking about 3% deal value. Thank you for clarifying, Kevin.
Rahul, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm also seeing like a minimum of 3%, I would say. And like I said, it's not just the one time. I'm seeing that there is a need to move to the upfront and the long lifetime. So 3% puts it at minimum.
Josh?
Yeah, I'd say it's from what I'm hearing, it's roughly 5 to 20% in a lot of cases, and so that could be broken up in multiple payments. But yeah, 5 to 20% is pretty standard for what I'm seeing, and depending on the complexity, maybe there's different levels of partnership. So if I'm tiering this out into a bronze, silver, gold, platinum type model, maybe those percentages are dictated based on what group I fall into.
And Rafael?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I've seen pretty much 5 to 20% on that as kind of the going average. Just depends on where they're at and what you're incentivizing. I think that Josh, you brought up a good point earlier too. There's also a matter of like spiffs to the individual salesperson, because sometimes the company keeps the referral fee and doesn't pay anything to the sales guy, right? Which is kind of a bummer, because that's the person who's actually doing the front loading of the referrals for you guys. So I'd keep in mind, is there outside of just a traditional kind of referral fee, is there a specific spiff that you're willing to provide for the individual who's actually making the referral?
So another question coming through, do you pay referral partners for renewals? And that's something we talked about earlier. How do you make a decision? And Claudia, if I can start with you, do I pay it one time, or do I pay for the life of the contract? Do I pay for renewals as well? Is there a rule of thumb?
Yeah, it will be one time. However, there is always exceptions, right? That referral partner may be involved in the renewal or not. So you really need to profile your referral partners and know who you're talking to and engaging with.
Excellent. We're getting close to got lots of questions starting to come through. So how does the company pay the rep when in most cases we can only pay the company, not the individual, based on tax implications?
You can pay the reps.
Step in on that one.
Yeah, you can pay the reps very easily and cover taxes globally. It's not an issue.
Okay. Anyone else see it as an issue?
No, I mean, gift cards work great too. Gift cards. Yes. That's another way around it too. That works really well. Easy.
Keep in mind, some companies do not allow you to pay the reps individually, right?
That
so
too.
You have to take that into consideration on the company's policies. And so if you're going to, pay the company, make sure it's well defined that company now has an expectation and a duty to pay their reps for these referrals.
Yeah, in those cases, Josh, technology today has the ability to route that incentive up to the partner company, and then let the partner company decide whether to route it back to the individual or keep it in their, pocket, if you will.
Roll up all the sales rep.
Yeah.
Rewards, yep.
But all of this has to be clearly defined upfront
Yes.
in your agreement.
Expectations management is huge here, right? I mean, it's again, and this also comes back to the question we initially asked. What is the relationship that you want with these referral partners? If you want a deeper relationship, it's going to take that strategic conversation with the leadership and saying, how do you guys want us to work together, right? What is this going to take? I think that that's, you know, it's going to be a case-by-case basis and depending on what you're selling out there. But I think you should all take a look and just ask yourselves internally, what is the level of relationship we want with referral partners? How do we want this to look, not just in the short term, but the long term? And ultimately, right, what is the best way to incentivize the behaviors that we want to continue to see, you know, happen moving forward, right? And I think that's a conversation you should internally have. And then again, decide on the partnership level how to have that conversation with leadership for your partners and referral partners and kind of work that process through. But I think to your point, Derek, it's just expectation management. I think making sure communication's super clear in the terms, easy to understand too, not a bunch of crazy legalese that gets lost in there, right? I mean, make it super simple for people to understand. I think that's a key to this as well.
Okay, and I'm now going to come to each of you in turn. One simple question, and I'm going to move from left to right on my screen. So starting with you, Claudio, single most important thing that you need to do to have a successful referral program?
Pay for approved referral registration.
Excellent. Kevin?
Know your customer, know your partner, and build your program around making sure that there's a synergy between those two.
Excellent. Rahul?
Yeah, I would say focus on low volume but high quality leads.
Excellent. Josh?
Build your referral program with your referral partners in mind. Invest in them. The benefits will come.
Excellent. And Rafael?
Yeah, I think everyone made some great points here. I think partner first mentality is huge, right? Understand how do you benefit your partner more so than just what is this benefit bringing to you? There's going to be long-term benefits to you, but if you understand, keep that partner first mentality in place, like how is this helping them win? How am I helping them look better? How am I helping them in the overall engagement? That's going to pay dividends in the long term.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're actually over time, so really appreciate everyone's contribution. So Claudio, Kevin, Rahul, Josh, and Rafael, thank you very much for some great advice, great insights on how to build a referral program. As you log off, there will be a questionnaire coming up on your screen. Please take 2 minutes to complete that questionnaire. We really want to understand how well we're doing with these webinars and what else you'd like to see from them. So once again, Claudio, Kevin, Rahul, Josh, and Rafael, thank you so very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody. See you guys.
Bye, everyone.